All right, Bruce, right now we are on St. George Avenue near Cross Street where a telephone pole has snapped in half. People who were out here told me that it sounded like a roar. They believe that this was a tornado that tore through this area. Check out the telephone pole. The top half of it is dangling, being held up by the power lines here. About 300 homes in New Orleans East were damaged in Tuesday's tornado, and it's still incredible to see the scope of the damage. Check out this home behind me here where the walls are virtually gone, but if you look closely inside the kitchen, there's a cake sitting on a cake plate which was resting on the kitchen's island, virtually untouched. It's amazing to see when this home is essentially decimated, and yet there's a cake just sitting right there.
Good afternoon, I'm Meg Gatto.
And I'm Nancy Parker. We continue our breaking news coverage of the shooting just outside Washington, D.C.
Congressman Steve Scalise, along with 3 others, were shot this morning while practicing for a charity baseball game in Alexandria, Virginia. The congressman was shot in the hip. You're looking at video of Representative Scalise as he was loaded onto a stretcher before he was airlifted to a D.C. area hospital. The incident happened shortly after 6 a.m. New Orleans time.
Well, this all transpired at about 6:30 this morning, Greg and Nancy, when we're told neighbors heard 7 to 9 gunshots. People came outside to find this scene. Deputies covering this intersection here at Ames and Barataria. This is what we know. At this point, a Westwego police officer has been shot. We also know that another woman has been shot. We have not received any type of official word at this point on either of their conditions.
Look over here at the foot of the bridge. Causeway police are out here prohibiting anybody from getting onto the bridge at this point. And look at the traffic. These folks are backed up almost all the way to the interstate here from Causeway. It's unclear if these motorists have not gotten maybe the word about what is going on the bridge. 8 months. That's how long it took for us to get some basic statistics from Crime Stoppers, a nonprofit that receives public money through the court system.
The $20,000 bonus that you received in 2015, I know $17,000 the year before, were there certain goals set that you had to meet in order to make that bonus?
I think that, certainly looking at my compensation, again, has been approved by a board of directors. There are certain standards that they followed.
But surely you would know if there were set goals in place for you to receive that bonus.
Again, I would refer you to the chairman of the board to discuss anything that has to do with compensation.
Being certain members, we don't know.
Senator John Kennedy tweeted this morning. Let's take a look at his tweet. Quote, "This is unspeakable. I am praying for my friend and colleague, Steve Scalise, and his family." We actually spoke to Senator Kennedy by telephone this morning. Nancy was telling us that he actually was in his office in Washington, D.C. He at first heard some terrible news that perhaps the congressman was shot in the head. He then found out the real story, that he was shot in the hip. But he kind of just painted this picture of confusion, utter confusion, as people were trying to figure out exactly what happened on that ball field.
Now, the suspect, as Rob mentioned, is being treated inside UMC right now. We know he suffered multiple gunshot wounds. We also know at this point that he is 30 years old, but the chief would not say if he is someone that was known to police and if that is perhaps the reason why these 4 officers on patrol stopped when they were working in New Orleans East in that area when the shooting took place. Also, although we do not know the name of the officer killed, again, we know he worked in the 7th District. And the chief said he is someone that was incredibly well known to many members of the NOPD.